What's going on, guys? J-Law here from Vendetta Sports Media. Super excited to bring you guys a brand new series that is going to be exclusively on the gaming channel right here, in which we are going to take a deep dive into units that you guys can use on the tabletop for Warhammer 40,000. These could be named characters, or heroic characters, or epic heroes, or it could just be like your generalized Space Marines, like your intercessors or something. We'll go through the whole codex as much as we can, both of just kind of like the generalized Space Marine units, but as well as giving focus to some of the more unique units. And that leads us right into today, into one of my favorite units to use on the tabletop. I've recently become a Black Templars player ever since the release of their new codex. They have a bunch of cool new rules. They lose oath, but they have these vows that you can use that give you a host of cool things to do. But it's really the units and some of the specific units to the Black Templars is what drew me to them. And so when I started researching into a new army that I wanted to get into, Black Templars, it just stuck out because I wanted the Space Marine aesthetic, but I wanted something a bit more something that wasn't just super vanilla like any other Space Marine faction that was Codex compliant, or even the non-Codex compliant ones, if I'm being completely honest. And one of my favorite units, he is the subject of today, and that is the Emperor's Champion. Man, is this guy super fun to use on the tabletop. And we'll get into a bunch of what he does and how I think about utilizing him on the tabletop. I've bounced around some ideas outside of just like the one that I've used him for. So I have my codex here with me, and it tells all about, you can see here, the Emperor's Champion. This is why I love the codexes, like having them in hand. It's like all the lore stuff that you get. So super cool to see about them. But the lore for the Emperor's Champion is basically that before battle, a member of the Black Templars can be filled with this intense vision that they believe comes from the God Emperor, talking about their deeds to come in the battle ahead. And that battle brother rushes to a chaplain to essentially verify their vision, and if the vision is verified, if they do believe that it has come from the God Emperor himself, then that battle brother then adorns the armor, and he no longer is whoever he was before. He simply becomes the Emperor's champion. Just kind of touched a little bit on the lore, just because it's cool, just because I'm a nerd, and I love the idea of when I'm playing a tabletop game, there's extremely deep lore that goes behind the little plastic figure that I spend a bunch of time and a bunch of money on putting together, painting, and then putting it on the tabletop and letting it run wild. All right, so I am here on New Recruit. This is a great website to use if you're like just getting into Warhammer. Would highly recommend going here. If you have any idea of army construction or anything, or you really just want to know what a lot of units do, this is a great place to go because it's 100% free and it gives you all the data sheets. And it may take some time if there's an update of some sort, like when they push out updates for points or for what units can do and everything, which is just a part of being in Warhammer in the hobby. Is Games Workshop is going to do that sometimes. May take some time, but this is a good, just kind of free tool that I like to use, and I'll be using it throughout the entirety of this series. All right, but let's take a look at the Emperor's Champion and the things that he can do. So movement 8 inches, not bad. Toughness 4, strength or saves 2 ups, 5 wounds, leadership 6 ups, and objective control 1. Okay, sweet. So 8 inches of movement, pretty good for an infantry unit. Toughness 4, I mean, that's pretty on par. What saves him down here is his invul save of a 4 up, so that's very nice. But he also has just a normal save of a 2 up, so if there's a lot of 1 damage things out there. I just now realized my cat is in the video now, or she was, at least. She's probably going to still be in the video. Hello, Cleo. She's staring at me. All right, as far as ranged weapons go, bolt pistol, nothing too crazy, out of the ordinary. 1 attack, hitting on 2s, which isn't bad for a bolt pistol, and then strength 4, and no AP and 1 damage. So it's just definitely one of those things that's just a shot in the dark. If you can land it, cool. If not, it's not the worst thing in the world. But now this is where it gets interesting, and this is why I just like a big thing that I love about Warhammer is when they can tie when there's lore things that they can tie to the tabletop, because when you read the in fact, let me just grab this right here because it's sitting next to me. And when it talks about the Emperor's Champion, it says it says in battle the obligation and privilege of the Emperor's Champion is to seek out the enemy's leaders and strike them down. But anyway, their job basically, according to lore, is to strike down, go hunt down, and strike down the enemy leader. And so we see here with this with his black sword, with his strike attack, 6 attack, hitting on 2s. Very nice. We love to see that. Strength 8, very great. AP -3, 3 damage. It is also anti-character 5 and has precision. That's where this comes really into play and what the Emperor's Champion is good for. So even if it's not a thematic list that, or like if you're not going for thematics and you're not trying to hunt down a character unit in your opposing army, which this would be the perfect unit to do so, or the perfect person to do it with because of precision. So for instance, I've got a buddy that runs Thousand Suns and so he could have in his with one of his rubric marines, he has a sorcerer, aspiring sorcerer, I think. I don't run Thousand Suns, so I'm not well versed in a lot of everything with them. But now, instead of having to fight through the entire bodyguard unit, you just go straight for the sorcerer, and you can shut down all of his sorcery shenanigans. That if anyone's ever played against the Thousand Suns, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now the abilities for the Emperor's Champion are crazy. So the first one, we have Armor of Faith. And once per phase, that's key. That's not once per battle. That's not once per turn. That is once per phase. Okay, once per phase, when an attack is allocated to this model and the saving throw is failed, you can change the damage characteristic of that attack to 0. So shooting phase, fight phase, it could even be in the movement phase if someone hits you with Overwatch. For whatever reason, you fail a saving throw in any of those phases. You could fail one in all of those phases, back to back to back. You can blank one of those damages. If you fail just one and it's something that does like 3 damage and you're already down to 2 wounds, then the Emperor's Champion gets to keep moving, baby. That's what's crazy. Next, we have Sigismund's Heir. Each time this model's unit declares a charge, if one or more targets of that charge have the character keyword, you can add 2 to the charge roll. So again, that's only though if they have the character keyword, which again, if you're doing something, I've seen people talk about this, if you are tossing the Emperor's Champion with another unit into a drop pod, deep striking within 9 inches, they get out, then it's essentially you get to add 2 to the charge if you do it into something that has the character keyword into it. And then also on top of that, once per battle, if that unit that you're charging does have the character keyword, or if that unit's just within engagement range, then to the end of the phase, all melee weapons equipped by this model have the devastating wounds ability. And then of course the invul save. We also have some other rules, some of these rules which are crazy. So yes, we here are like the Templar vows and everything that I talked about. When he is not attached to a unit, he gets the lone op ability. So he's lone op, meaning that he cannot be selected as the target of a ranged attack unless that attack happens within 12 inches. So you could really run the Emperor's Champion solo. You can move him around the board for scoring and objective purposes. Like, let's say, for instance, you are in the Wrathful Processions detachment. That gives you +2 on movement. So now the Emperor's Champion has 10 inches of movement, which is Kind of insane to think about. Chorus of Relentless Hate, 2 to the move characteristics, and add 1 to the advance roll. So that's pretty insane if he's moving lone up. And you could also imagine adding 1 to the strength characteristic of the models. So like of the Emperor's Champion. So that would make his strike go up to 9 strength and his sweep go up to 7. Now, you don't have to run the Emperor's Champion as a lone op. You can attach him to a couple of different units. You can attach him to an Assault Intercessor Squad, a regular Intercessor Squad, Crusader Squad, Sword Brethren, and a Stern Guard Veteran Squad. Now, when we look at attaching the Emperor's Champion to a model, really what we need to look at, it's not necessarily what he gives the unit, it's more of what the unit gives him. And that was something when I was really first learning Warhammer, I really didn't understand a whole lot, but now I do, is that sometimes you put a character unit with a regular unit for their ability. If you put a lieutenant to give you lethals with a unit or something like that, or you attach a captain because there's a stratagem that you can use, and because of if it costs just 1 command point for the stratagem, the captain basically lets you use that stratagem for free because their ability lets you subtract 1 from the CP cost for a stratagem. But sometimes we have to look at, especially with a character like the Emperor's Champion, who is just so awesome on his own, do any of these, is it worth the extra points that is going to take in order to make sure that your Emperor's Champion, without his lone op, is going to safely get to a portion of the board where you can use him effectively? And so we'll just kind of take a look at everything, like these guys on here and everything, because again, part of this is just trying to think of some strategy. And obviously this is just a random one, the Crusading Blob. As you can see, this is just a random one I've come up with. I'm messing around with a bunch of detachments and units and everything, but we can look at a Crusader Squad, for instance. So the Righteous Zeal move is pretty cool, where basically you get to roll 1d6 and add 2. It's almost like I forget the name of the move. I think it's called a Blood Surge or something, but for anyone that's a Chaos player out there or knows anything about the World Eaters, basically they get shot at, one of them dies, one of the models gets killed, then they get to move somewhere. But the Righteous Zeal move, it's kind of cool. It's a lot of wounds. It's 10-man unit is the basic one for 150 points, and so that's a lot of wounds to get through before it finally gets to your Emperor's Champion. Because when you have someone like the Emperor's Champion, you really almost have to see the whole unit is just extra wounds to protect the Emperor's Champion. Now, obviously, with a Crusade Squad, you want to, if they're going to be in your unit and it's going to cost you 150 points, that's a significant amount of points. That's nothing to laugh at if you're just using it as a bodyguard unit. But obviously, we could talk about a Crusader Squad the other day, but I probably wouldn't run the Emperor's Champion with a Crusader Squad unless I'm just being super ultra thematic, which would be kind of fun. Intercessor Squad, their ability is more shooting, so it doesn't really help them. Although an Intercessor Squad is a must-take, in my personal opinion, for every army list. Even if I'm not playing a competitive list, even if I'm just goofing around with my friends, I still bring this because I am a competitive person in nature, and I do want to win the games I play. But even if I lose, I still want to just have fun, But if you're playing in any form of competitive setting, take an Intercessor Squad just because of sticking their objectives. It's amazing. Sword Brethren, I think, need something else. I don't think the Emperor's Champion is the way to go for them. So they have this rule: exploit their cowardice. Each time an enemy unit within engagement range of this unit is selected to fall back. After it ends that fallback move, if this unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move. I've never really had this happen to me with them before. But I don't know. Again, it's just, we have to try to look at the rules and everything. And again, this could be okay for protection of your Emperor's Champion. But again, I think you're just wasting what the Sword Brethren do best, which is, you have these mastercrafted power weapons with 3 attacks each, wounding on 2, strength 5, AP minus 2, 2 damage. There's a lot better ways to utilize them as just a bodyguard squad. Now, I will say in this, my crusading blob, because originally I was thinking about having like a 20-man crusader squad in here, but you just kind of goof off and everything. And I got a bunch of different lists that I've just been kind of trying different things on and see what sticks at the wall. The best one, in my opinion, is going to be the Assault Intercessor Squad. Now, I want to just go ahead and look at the Sternguard Veteran Squad because I heard someone say this, where it's like each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets the closest eligible target, you can re-roll a wound roll of 1. Is that interesting? Yeah, sure. Now, the Sternguard Vets for Black Templars, they are not as good as just your regular Sternguard Vets. The no Oath of Moment rule kind of ruins them almost. This just isn't like the greatest of rules or abilities. So, but really the one squad here that I would definitely think about 100% considering for the Emperor's Champion is the Assault Intercessor Squad. And this seems to be the meta. If you are not running the Emperor's Champion in Lone Op, then you are sticking him with an Assault Intercessor Squad. I put the Emperor's Champion and the Assault Intercessor Squad, if I can find the designated transports, I put them in a, there's like, the one thing I don't like about this is having all the legend stuff up here. And for whatever reason, I can't seem to figure out how to get that fixed. But throwing them in a Black Templar Impulsor is perfect. It has just the right amount of transport capacity. There is even an ability. There's a couple of detachments that give the scout ability to any of your character units. So, and dedicated transports get to take advantage of scout. So here I have one that I actually do have all of that put together. It's nowhere near optimized because still 40 points is a lot of points. I feel like I could find some better optimization there than that. But here I have the 5-man Intercessor Squad. Then here's the Impulsor. The Impulsor, putting the Shield Dome on there. And of course, because it's Black Templars, it's multi-meltas everywhere. And then here is the Emperor's Champion with the Herald of the Sacred Slaughter, because we are in the God Hammer detachment. So this gives where did it go? Nope. Oops. I accidentally clicked on the execrator there. That's another unit for another video in the future, because I love the execrator model so much. But see here, model in the declared battle formation step, if the bearer starts the battle embarked within a dedicated transport, that dedicated transport has the Scout's 9 abilities. So now we get to move an Impulsor 9 inches up the board. Okay, 9 inches. I've thought about, like, and again, this is just something else. Like, I clicked on the execrator by accident. The execrator in that role with like some sword brethren would be crazy, because he gets natural advance and charge. So, but again, that's something to talk about another day. But I went with this one because I have the execrator in one of 2 land raiders. But if we're talking true Black Templars meta right now, Black Templar Gladius is probably the biggest meta there is out there. Gladius is really great. As you can see here in the top left, I'm nowhere near finishing a Gladius detachment for here. But, having things where, get +2 to attacks and strength characteristics. If, let's see, is that honor vehement? Is that how you say that word? I'm terrible at words. Trey knows. Shout out Trey. Add 1 to the attack and the strength characteristics of the melee weapons. But if you're under the assault doctrine, then you add 2. So obviously, I love the Emperor's Champion. I think he is one of the best units in the Black Templars arsenal. He's extremely powerful. He's extremely versatile. And I think he is a must-take in any Black Templars list. 100%. 100, 1,000, 1,000,000%. If you are going to run Black Templars, go pick up an Emperor's Champion model, which if you can get your hands on the new Combat Patrol that came out with the release alongside of the new Codex for the Black Templars, you get a lot of cool stuff. You do get a squad of Sword Brethren. You do get a Crusader squad. You even get a Black Templar, or not Black Templar, because obviously it's Black Templars. You even get a Blades Guard squad as well, and Blade Guard are pretty good. But again, future ideas, future videos, so we won't really get into it right now. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, greatly helps us out. And while you're here, if you're interested in sports-related content, make sure to go check out the main channel where you'll see a lot of, NFL, NBA, UFC, tons of sport-related content over there. Well, again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Jay Law from Vendetta Sports Media signing off, and I will see you guys next time.